Well, good morning, and as the good senator said earlier, Merry Christmas to you all.
Merry Christmas to you, Chuck.
I have a fundamental disagreement with both senators in the fact that the concept of private property totally negates the idea that the state has any right to my money just because I own that property. This is a definite violation of the Fifth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. Now, the state of Montana for many years was known as the treasure state. They just found more oil in the Bakken field, and they found another field underneath the Bakken field. There's lots of coal in the southeast, down in the Badlands. There is massive amounts of timber under the so-called federal lands here in the state. The feds do not own these lands according to the Constitution. The Constitution only allows military property. So if this state legislature and the executive board would go ahead and challenge the feds, we could get all of the revenues necessary for the operation of our government through the use of these lands. You could totally eliminate private property taxes.
All right. And Chuck, good to hear from you. Chuck raised some constitutional concerns, and we do have, I think, State Representative Scott Rigner from Big Fork on the line as well. He raised constitutional questions, also said, hey, are there other revenue sources we could look at? Maybe Otter Creek. Coal tracks is on the discussion for the land board next week. If either of you want to jump on that. If not, I can take another quick phone call from Representative Rigner. Senator Essmann, Senator Gillen, did you want to talk specifically about Chuck's thoughts?
I'm a strong proponent of development of this state's natural resources. This is not just a question of revenue for the government. It's also a question of revenue for people that would like to get a decent paying job in the eastern part of the state in terms of development of these oil and gas resources and the coal resources. Continuing to have them locked up to preserve, a way of life for 20 or 30 ranching families down the Powder River versus putting hundreds of people to work in an employment situation in that mine and on the railroad, I think is a bad choice. It is a choice that the State Land Board will be faced with making, and I think the people of eastern Montana should be looking at how they decide that issue.
Okay, and I'll jump to State Representative Scott Rigner on the line from Big Fork on line one. We've just got a couple minutes left. Representative Rigner, thanks for calling in this morning.
Thank you very much, and Merry Christmas to everybody. I just wanted to thank Senator Gillen, Senator Essmann for their work on the tax committee. I appreciate it. I represent the entire east shore of the Flathead Lake, and over the last 2 or 3 months, I've had dozens of phone calls, emails, and letters, expressing people's frustration about their high assessments. And what kind of dropped it over the edge for me was an 82-year-old widow who'd owned a piece of property for 60 years. Small little cabin on the East Shore. Property assessment went from $470,000 to $2.8 million, and I have empathy for that person. I think that there's some things that we need to address that maybe we didn't address, or maybe we didn't have all the answers during or information has been reported in the committee meetings. But I think that we're hearing our people up here in the Flathead. We've had a town hall meeting in Big Fork. We have another one scheduled for this Thursday night, and I guess that's part of the phone call. We want people to come and to voice their opinions and concerns. It's at the Flathead Community College, 6:30 to 8:30. We'd love all the Flathead residents to be there to participate, not just to voice their concerns, but more importantly to voice their solutions to the problems.
All right. Well,
appreciate it.
Representative Rigner, good to hear from you. Thanks for calling in as well. Senator Gillen, we've only got about 30 seconds left. I'll give you the final word since I kind of had to cut you off so we could hear from Representative Rigner.
No problem. The legislative approach was to mitigate at the average 54%. We know that there are outliers. It's not great to be an outlier. We're relooking at our mitigation, our ways, we call them property circuit breakers. The thing is that we can't have, the challenge is if we deal with these higher values, then there are folks across the state in eastern Montana whose values went down, and it's a balancing act to make sure that you treat taxpayers on average fair. And I think we're going to look at those case by case and encourage people to contact the Department of Revenue.
All right. Well, Democratic State Senator Kim Gillen, Republican State Senator Jeff Essmann, thank you both for joining us on this special property tax show here on Voices of Montana. Pleasure having you.